Hi everyone, this is Selvi. Today's interview question is, can we change the length of the sprint? And second part of the question is, if we can change, how frequently we can change the length of the sprint? So let's take the first part of the question. Can we change the length of the sprint? Yes, of course we can change the length of the sprint. Length of the sprint is not fixed in the project execution. Depends on the flow, depends on the maturity that we are attaining with the product backlog and the execution. We can change the length of the sprint. We already have discussed in our episode what is length of the sprint. Just for a quick reference, the number of days that is used in the sprint execution, whether it is 2 weeks cadence or 3 weeks cadence, that is the length of the sprint. Whether it is 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that is the length. So, first part of the question, we got the answer. Yes, we can change the length of this sprint. The second part is very important. How frequently we can change? We can change, like this time I'm using 2 week sprint, next time I'm going ahead with 3 weeks, next time 2 weeks, 3 weeks. No. That we should not follow. Because even though we can change the length of the sprint, we really need to put some analysis and come up with strong justification why are we changing the length of the sprint, why it should be given so much importance. When we say we change the length of the sprint, it is not only that the days of the sprint execution is going to change, it is going to affect in all the scrum events that are associated, as well the reporting. What are those things? Now let's take 2 week sprint. I am using for my project 2 week sprint. My team is following 2 week sprint. So at the end of the sprint, that is on the last day, we have the sprint review meeting. And usually the first day we have the sprint planning meeting. And the last day we have the sprint retrospective meeting. And every day we have the daily stand-up meeting and the backlog refinement meeting. As per the product backlog health, whatever we have today, we are following weekly 1 hour. That is the rhythm that we need now, so that we will ensure that the required product backlog health is achieved. So this is the pattern we are following. What happens if I change this immediately to 3 weeks without any kind of thought process? Because when we can go ahead and change this length of the sprint, before the sprint planning, as a team we can decide, okay, we can go ahead with 3 week sprint. Let's change it to 3 week sprint. That is as simple as that actually, because before sprint planning, we need to ensure, because during the sprint planning only we will be planning what is the goal and what is the available capacity of the team and how much we can commit for this particular sprint. All those things will happen. For that, definitely how many days we have in the sprint is very important. So during the sprint planning meeting, if we have the fair understanding of how many days that we are going to use in the sprint, or it is also called as the length of the sprint, it is fair enough. But the catch is, as I mentioned, it is not only affecting the number of the days, it is affecting all the other associated things. So it is allowed. But why are we making this change? That is first thing we need to discuss with the team, and especially this should happen during the retrospective meeting. Retrospective meeting, if team has the feeling we are using till date 2 week sprint, why can't we move it to 3 week sprint? What is the reason team is feeling is, we have a very fine backlog now, and we are kind of getting into the maturity, and we have a very clear understanding what we are targeting for the upcoming release. So we no need to go frequently as a review, because we have fair understanding about what are the things that are going to come, and already that alignment is completely taken care. The scope changes or the chances of things getting changed are very, very less or zero. So when we are very clear about the things, why we need to frequently have the review, instead we can have a little bit of extended rhythm of a week, that is with 3 weeks. Why can't we do that? That is the question team is having. So now as a team we are discussing this point. We are feeling, okay, let's understand that so far we need to develop something. We need to quickly go and check with the stakeholders, and they were shuffling the things and aligning certain things, and there were rearrangement going on. All those things were happening, so priority changes were happening. Now with all these sprints, whatever we have done for last 4 to 5, we got into a level that this is the alignment and this is what it's going to happen, and we are not expecting so many changes for the upcoming release for another 4 sprints at least. That is the alignment we got into. So now it's very easy that we have a clear path and we are not expecting changes. So why can't we go with this pattern so that we can reduce some time for the events? Instead of 2 weeks, we will be having 3 weeks sprint, so that there will be only one review in 3 weeks time, one retrospective in 3 weeks time, and maybe product backlog health depends on that. If we are really achieved with a good product backlog health, we may also reduce with refinement meetings as well. So these all are certain advantages, especially with review and retrospective. We have a clear advantage because instead of 2 weeks, we are going to conduct this event in 3 weeks. So now we are saving some time, and main reason is we have a clear path. We no need to go frequently to the stakeholders to check in every 2 weeks. We can go only in 3 weeks and check this. So now in retrospective, team is deciding, can we start immediately? Okay, sprint 2 end, that is sprint 2 last day, this retrospective meeting is happening. From sprint 3, can we change this? According to me, it's always best to give some time. Why to give that time? If you have already calendarized many things like sprint review, because sprint review is one thing that you need to connect with your stakeholders. So that is very important. If you are extending this time, will you be able to get the time from them? Instead of 2 weeks to 3 weeks, will you be able to get the time? The second challenge is whether your product backlog has enough items refined so that immediately you can pick up, so that instead of 2 weeks, you have one more week. Where do you really have that level of understanding whether your product owner is really ready? That is another question. So 2 things we need to check here: whether your internal stakeholder, that is your product owner, is ready, because he or she should have the prioritized things, and the complete product backlog that is required for this particular upcoming sprint of 3 weeks, whether it is really ready. That level of clarity your product owner should have. Second one is the external stakeholders, who all are the clients or your business owners and the product management team. Are they ready to, because it's a team decision, they are not going to decide, but you need to well in advance inform them, because your communication plan is going to change. What is this communication plan? Generally, whenever we are executing a project, we will say the rhythm of communication. These are the days you will be having these meetings, and the content of this agenda or the content of this meeting is so and so things. Who all are the participants? What is the time? All those things you will be sharing. And earlier sprint, that is on the sprint review, which will happen on sprint 2, that is the last day today, which means today only we are deciding that we need to go with 3 sprints, right? Have we already informed? Because in sprint review, what we will be doing, we will also discuss about the upcoming sprint backlog item and get the alignment from the stakeholders, just to make them clear that what is going to happen. Have we done that? Are we clear that sprint 3 is going to have these many things? Because it is extended with one more week, right? So what is going to happen in that one more week? Have we aligned with our stakeholders? So for all these things, it's better take this as an action item, and as a Scrum Master, you should plan all the things. And for Scrum Master, one more challenge is the capacity and velocity. So far, your velocity is calculated for 2 sprints. Now you are going to redefine that because your sprint length is going to be 3 weeks. Can we think in the way like, 2 weeks, my average velocity of the team is 15 story points or 20 story points. For example, if it is 20 story points, if it is for 3 weeks, can I say it will be 30 story points? No, that's not the right way of doing that. So now again, you are getting into the level of observing how your team is going to perform with 3 weeks. So you are not actually having the data to foresee the things, because it's again like instead of 2 weeks, you are going to 3 weeks. So you need to observe for some more time to foresee the things. And again, with capacity, you are not really ready because tomorrow you are planning to start the sprint. You may not have all the capacity details. Your team may not have provided all the details because they thought initially it will be 2 weeks, and you also as a Scrum Master may be thinking it is 2 weeks. Now it is 3 weeks. Do you have enough data before the sprint planning to start? And certain dependencies, we are still working as a Scrum Master trying to resolve those dependencies. And you were thinking that those are items which you will be eventually able to complete in the upcoming sprint so that it will be taken in the next sprint. But now things are changing. So product owner is asking, hey, like that's a priority item. Have we already resolved the dependency? No, we are not really ready. So, of course, we can change the length of the sprint, but these are the practical situations that you will face when you are going to change the length of the sprint. So align with your team through the retrospective meeting, get the feedback and get the challenges from the product owner, and as a Scrum Master, resolve the dependencies and unblock the barriers that you have, plus inform your stakeholders so that they are also aligned with the plan, and calendarize the Scrum events accordingly. Then you will be able to start this. If you are already aware of the situation little early, like 1 week prior the closure of the sprint, that you will be starting the length of the sprint from the upcoming sprint itself, then it's well and good. I'm just giving a hint here. Please take some time, because it's not only just saying instead of 2 weeks, it's 3 weeks. It has so many connected things. So you should really look for resolving those connected things before you commit on changing the length of the sprint. So in a nutshell, length of the sprint can be changed. You can take the decision during the retrospective meeting by aligning with your team. And before changing, check with the challenges. As a Scrum Master, resolve it. Check with your product owner, resolve it, and share the details to your stakeholders and make them aligned with the plan. Now, ensure that you have some time to fix all these dependencies and challenges, and right before the start of the sprint planning, ensure that you have all these things available and no challenges, no dependencies. You can definitely change the length of the sprint. So before starting the sprint, that is sprint planning meeting, you should have a fair understanding what is your length of the sprint. For that, you should resolve all the things. You should align with all the stakeholders. Your team should be well aware of this information with the relevant details. Your product owner, your Scrum Master, everyone. Then you are good to change the length of the sprint. This is what I want to discuss on this particular episode in the interview question season. Thanks everyone for listening. Happy learning and stay tuned.